It's Sunday evening, and what I like to do on a Sunday evening is come down here to the showroom and just make sure everything's kind of in order and organised as much as it can be for Monday morning. So there's a bit of an elephant in the room now. We're not using Porsche Care anymore. So still really highly recommend Matt at Porsche Care. Everyone go ahead and use him, he's really, really good. But we're doing so many cars now, he just didn't really have the time to get them done quickly enough, which is fair enough. So we've got the own workshop set up now at the back of the showroom, as you've seen in the previous video. And I've got a really good mechanic who comes in now, called Dan. He's worked on Porsches for years, knows them like the back of his hand. Really, really happy with him. Also got someone called Joe who comes in now, details all the cars and does the prep work for the body work and the interiors and so forth. So yeah, going on a bit of a tangent. I come down here on a Sunday evening, get everything in order as much as I can, make sure we've got whatever parts we need, get lists written up on the whiteboard. And yeah, I'm going to put the car that he's going to be working on tomorrow morning on the ramp, ready to go. So at the back end, it's looking really bare in here at the moment. We had 3 or 4 cars go out this week. It's looking really bare. And this floor. I saw some of you commenting about that in the comment section on one of the videos. And what happened was we had this floor put down, and basically I've since learned it takes a month for concrete to properly cure. So there's still moisture rising out of that. It's pushed the paint off. So got to hire a grinder, get that taken off, ordered the paint already and get that repainted. Anyway, the back end of last week, we had these 3 cars come in. 3 Carrera 2s. They seem to come in little herds. The last batch of cars seemed to all be Carrera 4s, and now we've got 3 Carrera 2s. What I'm going to do, rather than go over everything they need at the start of the video, I'll do that when they're on the ramp, but let's just have a quick look around them now. So 3 C2s, all coupes, all manuals. Got a bit of a contrast going on here actually, because we've got a late 996 on a 2004 reg, one of the very latest years, and then we've got 2 very early ones, a 1998 and an early 1999. So which do you prefer? Anyway, the car nearest to me is Seal Grey, black leather interior. It's done 100,000 miles. The previous owners had it for 10 years, which is a long time for one of these cars. Like I say, I'm not going to go over the stuff they need and what we're doing to them at the start of the videos anymore. I'm going to do that when they're on the ramp, to stop myself being repetitive. But there's a clue of one thing we're doing. But yeah, black leather interior. It's really tidy inside. 3-prong steering wheel, PCM satellite navigation, Alcantara suede headlining, electronic headlights on this car. It's a non-sunroof. The wheels are off being refurbed. They're just a spare set for it to sit on. But it is on the same style of wheel. So Sports Classic 1 wheels. The next one, don't they just look really cool next to each other? Really retro looking with the 17-inch twist wheels, I think. Anyway, Zenith blue, Metropole blue interior, which is a really nice contrast, I always think. We had this car about 3 years ago. Customer rung me up, said, look, I'm done with it. Do you want it back? Yes, please. So here it is. Really tidy inside. Very, very basic car. Not much spec whatsoever. It's had that kind of retro sports, it's not really sports, just retro Porsche head unit fitted, which is a really nice touch. So yeah, that's going on the ramp first. I'm going to put that on the ramp in a sec, and that'll be worked on tomorrow morning. And lastly, this car, almost identical spec to the other one, very, very basic, nothing on it. Arctic silver, space grey interior. This customer had this car for 10 years as well. So really long ownership. It's had a new engine with people called Auto Farm quite a while ago, but yeah, it's still on a newer engine. Again, very basic spec, like I say, really tidy inside. This one's done 120,000 miles. Sorry, the blue one's done 92,000 miles. So yeah, they all need kind of an array of mechanical bits and pieces doing, which we're going to do this week. That's the work for this week, getting those 3 done. No bodywork required to any of them. Just a wheel refurb to the grey car. Sorry, I forgot to say, the blue car's actually spoken for already. I had a customer ring me up. He asked, have you got an early C2 manual coupe? I said what it was. And yeah, he's paid a deposit and that car's reserved before even going live on the website. Anyway, I'm going to get him away now. You'll see him under the ramp in the next clip. So we just finished for the day. The first of the 3 C2s is done. This one had the least amount of work. It's a really nice car to start with. The only work we've done, front button stops, top mounts and bearings, and an Ims bearing, clutch and rear main seal. So let's have a look over it. There we go, lovely new top mounts, bump stops and bearings. So this car, the bloke before, had spent a lot of money on it himself. So it's had new brakes all round, front and back. He's put new wheel bolts in there. I'll lift it up now. At the front of the car, he'd recently put new drop links both sides and new track rods. The brake lines are all very, very good. Air conditioning pipes, good. The car's just generally very, very tidy underneath. There we go. We've just given it a major service as well. Spark plugs, all the filters and fluids, but they all came out really, really clean, so it hadn't been done too long ago. The clutch that we took out of the car, it only looks like it's done about 10,000 miles. And I recall the first time we sold it, the chap prior to that had just done that. So yeah, but anyway, while we're doing the Ims bearing, dual row bearing, we of course put a new clutch in it anyway, because it was coming out. The bump stops had seen better days. So yeah, there we go. That car's done. It's going for an MOT in the morning, and then the customer has got a transport company picking it up the following morning. Right, so as you saw last night, I've got the car on the ramp ready to go. And the list is an almighty one for this car, so I'm going to struggle to remember everything. If I start here. So it needs brake discs and pads all round. It needs air conditioning condensers in both sides. You might notice I've taken off those horrible grills that are on there. We need a bit of trim here because there's a hole here for some reason. It's getting a major service with spark plugs. We're doing the coil packs as well. You know we like to do the coil pack heat shields just to tidy those up. This spoiler rubber that I showed you in one of the previous videos on the Vesuvius car, it had a split along the seam there. So that's just been put on. That's nice and new. Let's have a look at the box to remind me what else we're doing. Oh, the top mounts and bump stops, of course. They are, as you would say, hanging. Look at the state of that. So they'll be done. Down at the MOT garage, getting MOT'd. Found anything? No advisories? Cool. Yeah, good. Looks beautiful. Right, it's the next morning. Zenith car's loaded up, about to be on its way. I've asked the guys to take a film his end, so hopefully we'll see it reach the customer as well. Oh, he doesn't want to go that way, it's a narrow lane.
You ready? Is it on? Hey Luke, just like to say a big thank you. She's arrived in one piece and she looks absolutely fantastic. I'm so excited and thank you so much for doing the deal with me. Thanks again, Luke. Cheers, mate.
I'm down getting the wheels refurbed, but I'm picking up the wheels for the grey car that are down there, dropping off the ones from the silver car. Absolutely wrecking this car. Silver wheels getting refurbed. Look at them. There you go. I'm giving you some free advertisement. Electric diamond wheels. The silver car is done, thankfully. And I say thankfully because it's been putting up a bit of a fight. My man Dan the man, has been cursing it a bit, namely because of its brakes. Now with an old car like this, some components may not have been touched for 4, 5, 6 years, and that was probably the case with the brakes on this car. And what happens is, you'll find bolts and threads are corroded and are difficult, we'll say, to get undone. So yeah, the caliper bolts on these were corroded and difficult to undo. So yeah, Dan wasn't very happy with them, but they're all done now. And we've got nice Brembo discs and pads all round. The wheels came back from refurbishment, and then we put new centre caps on as well. Something about freshly refurbed wheels and new brakes, they just look brilliant. We've got new top mounts, bump stops and bearings on both sides at the front, obviously. New air conditioning condensers in both sides, so the aircon's ice cold. You can see a bit of a kind of green line along there. That's where we've taken off those horrible chrome grills that were in there, just to smarten up that front end. We've also renewed the number plate bracket there. They get very pale and just a little bit damaged, so you can get those from Porsche, about 20, 25 pounds. If we come to the back of the car, we spoke about it already. We've renewed this spoiler rubber. They're very prone to getting a split along there, so always when you're looking at one of these cars, just put the spoiler up manually and check that. We've renewed the reverse light switch on the gearbox because the reverse lights weren't working. It's had a major service, as well as all 6 coil packs renewed, and the coil pack heat shields, just to freshen it up under there while we're there. It's also had to have a drop link and a wheel bearing on the near side, front. Dan said he could feel the wheel bearing was just a little bit gritty, so that's got done as well. It's had Bosch wiper blades all round, and a new low tone horn because that wasn't working. The only thing we haven't been able to do is get those binnacles sorted. So as you can see, they're removed. The fuel gauge is the only one playing up, and we couldn't fix it in-house, so that's gone off to a company to be repaired. And that's the lot. That's an absolute mammoth amount of work that car's had, but it's a great little car now, and that'll be up on the website shortly. Okay. Grey car on the ramp, and Dan's going to walk us. No. Right.
No, you have to start that again. I saw the camera.
No, I'm going with it.
No.
So we've got the grey car on the ramp. It's had a major service. It's getting coil packs. It's getting an Ims bearing, a clutch, a rear main oil seal. He's just been doing this aircon pipe. The aircon pipe along the seal that you've seen us do before. You saw this in the car earlier on. So it's the big one that runs along the seal, from the back there, up here, through the top, and it through there. So the old one had a bit of a split in it, and the seal was leaking as well. So that was desperately required. The front discs and pads on this car are fairly new. The shocks on this car at the front are fairly new. We're putting new rear discs and pads because they're looking sorry for themselves. Coil pack heat shields, as usual. So this is the kind of condition you'll find them in if they haven't been done. Nasty. And it's getting coil packs because when we cleaned the car, obviously it all got wet and it developed a misfire. So yeah, they were needed. We've had the wheels done already, as you've seen. They look superb, look at that. So there we go. Right, so we're still underneath the Seal Grey car. And you guessed it, doing an Ims bearing. So there you go, there's a new clutch. Ims bearing already in, gearbox there, ready to go back in. We've also had to do an air oil separator because it was found that there was a leak coming from it. And that is, I think we can just about see it. It is up there. So as I was saying, can you shine that light? We discovered a coolant leak and it was coming from the air oil separator. Oh, I can't really see it. It's up there, isn't it? You can see the new part. So that's been replaced now. Could see it better a minute ago when the gearbox was out, but someone rudely interrupted me by ringing me. And you're working too fast. Can you slow down, please? Because I couldn't get the video finished. Gearbox is back in, and that'll be the car done. Hefty old amount of work being done to that. So yeah, there we go. We'll see it down in about an hour's time. As you've just very briefly seen, I've been down to the MOT centre. We put a fresh MOT on the Seal Grey Carrera 2 that I'm in now. No advisories on the car, as we'd expect with all that work that we've done to it. Just prior to getting the MOT, I had the aircon system gassed, because of course we put that pipe, the new pipe along the seal, so that needs gassing. So I've got lovely cold aircon now. And yeah, actually the car is sold. So yesterday, while the car was still being worked on, somebody rung up to book in a test drive. They came yesterday late afternoon, just as the car was finished, and yeah, placed a deposit, and that was it. The car was sold. So that's another one gone before the video's even been finished. So that's this one gone, and the Zenith Blue car gone. We've got the silver early C2 still available while I'm taking this footage. So yeah, this is a really, really lovely car now. I spent a lot of time and money getting it right, but yeah, really beautiful car. Well, there we go. Video's not even live, and it's another one gone. So we've only got one left from the video remaining in stock. You'll see that in a bit. Okay, so technically all three cars are done, albeit only one's now with us. I was hoping at the start of the video, when I had them all lined up here, nicely in a row. That was a bee. Ugh. I was hoping... Okay, so technically all three cars are done, albeit I've only got one here, and there's only one in our possession now. I was hoping at the start of the video, when I had them all nicely lined up here in a row, to still have them here all lined up nicely in a row, and I was going to do a comparison between a very early one, i.e. this silver one, and the later one, the Seal Grey car that I had here. But alas, it's gone, so I'm just going to kind of take this one out for a spin and walk you through it, I guess. So yeah, it's all done. Look at that, I think with those 17-inch wheels, it's a lovely, dainty looking 911. The bodywork was always good on this car. It's been fully detailed as ever, but there was nothing wrong with the bodywork, so it's not been to the body shop. It's had the wheels done, but that's the only thing aesthetically this one's had done. I'll spin this camera around and we'll have another look. C2. The only one of the 3 C2s that from the start of the video is actually left now. The other 2 have sold, as you've seen, which has compromised the video a little bit, but we'll go with it and improvise. It's a really hot Sunday afternoon today, so excuse the vest and excuse the noise if you can hear the blower going. But I'm really thankful for those air conditioning condensers and the regats we've done to this system, because I've got lovely ice cold air coming out of there now, which would have been unbearable had we not done that. So yeah, all the work's done to the car, but for one job. So my first port of call is going to be going down to the fuel station and putting a bit of fuel in, because we haven't been able to get that fuel gauge fixed yet. Now, we took the cluster out, sent it off to a company who said they'd be able to repair it, but for one reason or another, I didn't really go into it. They said they couldn't fix it. So I'm now on the lookout for a used instrument cluster, because you wouldn't buy one of those brand new from Porsche. You'd just be absolutely flabbergasted by the price. So that's the only job that hasn't been done. I've now got to look out for one on eBay or whatnot, like I say. So yeah, I'm gonna get down to the fuel station, put some fuel in it, and probably get a cold drink. Right, I've got a drink, and the car's had a drink. So let's go. That would have been a nice place to start, actually. If I had the other car, could have gone, oh look, I've got nowhere to put a drink. And if I was in the facelift, oh look, I've got somewhere to put a drink. Because they've got a cup holder and these don't. I'm gonna have to balance this somewhere in this car. Anyway, let's go find somewhere to have a good drive. I've actually got some form of Boxer behind me on this country lane at the moment. He's quite close to me. I think it's a 987. Let's see if he tries to keep up. Nah, not really. The car feels really stable for a 22-year-old classic 911. When the suspension's nice and tight, and the car generally is tight and in good order, they should feel nice and tight on the road doing high speeds. So yeah, it feels really stable at high speed. But yeah, he's not trying to chase me down at all, so I'll slow back down. So yeah, all the work we've done to this car, let's go through it. So, the job that Dan was having the most problems with, those corroded brake calipers and so forth, it's had all new brake discs, Brembo stuff we use, pads all round as well, of course the wear sensors and backing pads. It's had the traditional top mounts, bump stops and bearings on the front because they were old and all perished and whatnot. It's had a major service, so all the fluids, all the filters, the spark plugs. We also did some coil packs. We did the coil pack heat shields. You know we like to do those. It's a nice little bend here. That box is back up on my arse. We did the spoiler rubber on the back. That was split. Showed you that earlier in the video. The reverse light switch has been done. Yeah, it feels really good, this car. The brakes are really there now. I've done quite a few miles in them, just running them in. We haven't had to do the Ims bearing on this car, of course, because it's got that Auto Farm rebuilt engine. Now that engine was done a long time ago. I think it was done, the previous owner had it 10 years, and it was done just before he bought the car, or maybe even in prep for him buying the car. The engine was, well, an Auto Farm engine was put into the car, and that's had the upgraded Ims bearing and the upgraded cylinder liners, even though the 3.4s don't really tend to suffer from that. It's had those upgraded liners as well, so it's a really strong engine in the car. And like I say, it was done a long time ago, but it was only done 40,000 miles ago. So a pretty fresh engine in this car, and probably the main selling point with this particular example. kind of recycling these scenic locations to finish videos now. But I'm running out of them in North Hertfordshire. I'll have to start going further afield soon. Anyway, I was really enjoying that drive. Look at that. A pretty location for a pretty car. I was really enjoying that drive. As ever, I wasn't taking it very easy. I was driving in a spirited manner. And as ever, the Porsche was as good as gold. If we look at the temperature now, like I said, it's really hot today. It's probably 33 degrees. I've just pulled over. If we check that temperature, ignore the AWOL. Oh, I can't figure this gimbal out. There you go. Ignore the AWOL fuel gauge. Look, the temperature's at 90 degrees, just where it should be. I mean, of course, all the fans are working on the car, which you'd always check when you're buying one of these. And both radiators are completely clear. We hoovered all that out when we were replacing the air conditioning condensers. So it's got maximum cooling. If you want to get more cooling to one of these cars, like you saw in the last video, you can put a cool running thermostat in, but we haven't done that to this. The wheels look really, really good refurb, brand new centre caps on them as well. So like I said earlier, what I was going to do was give a little comparison between this pre-facelift, very early 996, and the facelifted Seal Grey car we had in stock, because they were both C2s. One was the very later years when they were making the 996, 2004. This was a 98, it would have made a nice video, but it's gone now. I'm not going to do that. I've got a couple come in that I'm going to do that with in another video, so that'll be to come. What I will say is I was really enjoying that drive. I'm really fond of the early 996s, as everybody knows from these videos, if you've watched them before. I'll just repeat myself. They feel really nimble. They feel really analog. You feel really involved. We did a lot of kart racing as kids, and I feel like there's a lot of similarities between one of these cars and a kart. I feel like I can, like I said, feel exactly where those front wheels are, and I can place the thing right on the apex, right on the inside line of a corner, because I know exactly where those wheels are in the front. Whereas on a modern car, if you feel a bit detached from it, you can't really feel where your front wheels are, and you can't hit that apex, and it's just not as fun. I might be talking absolute nonsense, but that's how I kind of feel about them. Anyway, the car's now on the website. It's totally done. It's had a whole heap of work done to it that we've been through. It looks beautiful. It's got that fresh engine in it, which is the main selling point about the car, I guess. It's got the private reg staying with the car, 996. So yeah, somebody's going to get a lovely car. I'll make sure to clean those bugs off the front first. So let's end the video here. Until next time, see you later.